Welcome, welcome. It's been a while. And I guess it's good way to start. It's talking about a Iron Blood submarine that is also super rare. But in my knowledge has the highest torpedo stat compared to all submarines. This is a third place with the U-556 and I-19 Sakura Empire Marine, and that is the first place goes to the U-81. What can I say about that submarine? Sadly, I don't use submarines a lot because main campaign has a limited maps that can use submarines, so I only managed to get a few maps recorded with the U-81 in action. So, U-81, how good is she? Well, how about we actually take a look at her history in a 60 seconds. Well, she was released somewhere Second World War, but all I can remember is that she, according to rumors, she has a really good record by sinking merchant ships, plus also sinking a Ark Royale, the aircraft carrier from Royal Navy, that crippled Bismarck's rudder in her final days. But Ark Royale sank in 1941. I guess U-81 might be a good anti-Ark Royale against the defending other submarines. Excuse me, other destroyers. But I don't think she could actually care about getting torpedo hit from submarine if she knows that being a first prototype carrier question mark actually matters. And from that moment, U-81 got the skill that can actually deal insane hit to the carriers. That is called Silent Hunter. Increase damage dealt to CVs by 20%. When own torpedo hits an enemy ship, 15% chance to cause floating for 24 seconds, inflicting damage every 3 seconds. Damage depends on torpedo type and attributes. If effect is applied on an enemy ship that already has floating, refreshes floating duration. That is nasty one. If the boss is a carrier, I would highly guess that she can do some reliable damage against main boss ships like in aircraft carriers. Boss ships that are aircraft carriers. Excuse me, I have words somewhere else. Okay, focusing on this. She also fires her own all-out assault. Full broadside of torpedoes, and also well-known tactic among all U-boats, and that is called Wolfpack formation. And that is Wolfpack formation U-81. Increases own evasion by 40%. During battle, increases own torpedo stat, reload and accuracy by 7% per Ironblood submarine in the same fleet. Thanks to her really high torpedo stat, if you combine auxiliary torpedoes that can increase torpedo stat even more, and when you combine Wolfpack formation with other U-boats, see, in my guess, she has the highest stat among all submarines. But of course there's a catch. She doesn't have those impressive skills like Gato has, example. If I remember correctly, the Gato ones had the skills that can increase a crit rate and something related to that. And damage, if I remember correctly. Was it Archerfish that sank Taiho? No, it was Shinano? No, Albacore sank the Taiho. And Archerfish scuttled Shinano, if I remember correctly. So those submarines working together actually can deal some critical damage more. But surprisingly they have lesser torpedo stats compared to 81. So in my experience, 81 can deal some good damage if you give her really good auxiliary and torpedo armament. But also, as a submarine, there is also a catch. She relies on oxygen, staying underwater and delivering torpedo hits. The lesser you have oxygen, the lesser time she stays on a battlefield. So the timing is also crucial to make her work and dealing that nasty damage to other enemy ships thanks to her torpedoes. And how does he work today? Is she reliable? Is she useful today? I think she is useful these days. It doesn't matter, is it just carriers that gets insane damage to the from the 81. I guess just the basic torpedo stat can deal nasty damage. If you can reach 81 into level 125, her torpedo stats is 562. 562 in level 125. That is high and surprisingly effective against carriers thanks to the skills, but also the other ship types. That skill may not work the cruisers and destroyers or battleships, but the stat alone and good auxiliary and torpedo armament, she is a menace among all submarines. But I want to stay real here. There are other submarines that can also outperform her. Not just by stats, but also a skills and barrage. U-556 meta example, she's just 1 point lower, but she can deal some critical damage. Also, every ship's. Let me check real quick. Increase this boat's torpedo crit rate by 10% and increase her damage stealth against light armor enemies 10%. That is a 556 meta, by the way. When this boat enters the battlefield, increases this boat's damage dealt by 15%, but increases her damage taken by 10%. So 556 meta can also outperform 81 thanks to her skills. And also there is a small thing like torpedo efficiency, but I'm not going to calculate that one, because damage calculations in this game, I'm not gonna bother in that. But what I want to focus on is the armament. She's gonna get. Let's just say, if you have low resources, but you have some super rare ones, torpedoes, I guess you should give her the best ones you can get. Once you have built the armaments for her, she is ready to go. But if you have like the Iron Blood's submarine hull upgrade auxiliary item, it can increase the torpedo stat, if I remember correctly. Pressure resistance hull design. It can increase torpedo stats by 35. That is also helpful to 81. And if you want to keep her longer to battlefield, you could either give her improved snorkel made by Ironblood that raises a time by 85 and accuracy by 35. I'm surprised. But after you have operation damage boost 3%, if I understand correctly. No. But anyway, submarines are actually very flexible. You can either make them stay longer on the battlefield or just focusing all the way to the torpedo damage. But if you do not have homing ones, there is a high chance that you will miss a potential damage you want to deal to the enemies. If you put 81 in the middle of the submarine fleet, yes, she can deal some huge damage to every ship in the middle, and making sure that lesser torpedoes misses when she fires. The highest damage torpedo you can find is always the good one for 81. That can also increases her torpedo stats. Do I recommend her? Absolutely. If you have Wolfpack, like 3 Ironblood submarines in your port, absolutely focus building her, and when you have opportunity to use her on a battlefield, go for it. Also, thankfully, now we have a Nuremberg in a light construction. You can also increase the XP gained from every battle. All submarines in the field. All submarines. That also increases. Faster way to get the 81 and all submarines to level 120 and 125. If you have resources, of course. I wanted to keep this as short as possible, but it has been a long time since I have done all these building guiding related videos. But I'm not gonna no longer keep this longer than this. If you have 81 and other Ironblood submarines, build the submarine fleet from them. It will be beneficial and useful on a battlefield, but in time you can also find those better ones that can also work better in their own way. But let's just say the 81 is a professional carrier destroyer among other carrier destroyers, among other submarines, and also a good one defending port destroyers from Ark Royale. But we will talk about that later. Thank you so much for watching. If there's something I was lacking in this video, please do tell in the comments down below. And what do you find about the U-boats and the Wolfpack tactics? I wish you blissful fortunes in July, and I see you in the next video, and happy July.